Carrying cost is a measure, usually expressed as a percentage, of the costs incurred to hold inventory. Simply put, inventory that sits in the plant has a cost associated to it. This cost is a result of the cost of the item itself, insurance, obsolescence, theft, damage, use of storage facilities, and other causes. What happens yearly at every company is that they give a year-end inventory count. Let us assume that the company uses a bank for financing. The bank calculates what it needs to charge for interest on the overall annual inventory tied up by the company. In order to calculate the amount of inventory, they make the physical count happen. That is, they count materials, or inventory, between machines, or processes, or activities waiting to be processed. The assumption is that the amount of inventory does not fluctuate high or low. As long as your system remains the same, this count is a valid measure with which to determine your monthly average. The bank charges 24% interest per year on the carrying cost for your inventory. This means it charges 2% per month. We calculate carrying cost by taking the dollar amount of what the inventory is worth and multiplying it by 2%. So at the end of day 1, we stop after 8 hours of work. At this point we ask ourselves, what if that was the average amount of inventory at the end of the month? We assume that this is true, and our count becomes the amount we use to represent the physical inventory at the end of the month. For example, dollars might have been $250,000 worth of inventory. Multiply that by 2%, and our inventory cost per month is equal to $5,000. So in some ways, that 2% is the cost of borrowing money from the bank. Let's take a look now at what our carrying cost is for the Skyview Airplane Company. This table shows all of our inventory carrying cost calculations. That is, for work in progress. Our first step is to count the number of assemblies between Workstation 1 and 2. There are more now that we have completed the last 2 hours of our workday. Once again, we count all assemblies that are either finished in Workstation 1 or in the queue of Workstation 2. As we said then, each Lego piece in our assemblies has a cost. The 16-pin pieces are $10,000 each. The 8-pin pieces are $5,000 each. And the 4-pin pieces are $3,000 each. We calculate the cost of assemblies in the same fashion as we did in the scrap cost table. The number of assemblies between Workstation 1 and 2 is 25. At 2 16-pin parts per assembly, the total number of parts is equal to 50. 50 16-pin parts cost $500,000. We calculate the rest of the assembly costs in the same way. Thus, the total cost for the 16-pin sub-assemblies is $940,000. For the 8-pin sub-assemblies, it is $775,000. And for the 4-pin assemblies, it is $108,000. Next, the total cost of our inventories is $1,823,000. At 2% per month, this works out to be $36,460. This means the manner in which we produce airplanes in day 1 costs our company $36,460 per month for the inventory carrying cost. It will be our goal to reduce the amount of physical inventory that sits between workstations in our plant. This, in turn, will bring our cost down. If you wish, Study this table for a moment before moving on to the next section.